watching BloombergQuint. We're coming to you from the World Economic Forum's annual meeting here in Davos. And we're about to talk about the future of content with Guru Gowrappan. He's the CEO of Verizon Media. He had a long stint at Alibaba and is now putting together news, content, and e-commerce along with advertising to make it a hugely profitable business. Guru, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thanks for having me here.
I must start by asking you about your efforts to remake Verizon, all the missteps in the past, which have now been well covered. But what's the vision of how you hope to be able to bring all the pieces of this business together? Email, content,
search.
news, search, and then e-commerce, and build it into a cohesive consumer offering.
Sure. Look, at core, I always say we're a very mission-driven company. Our mission is to connect people to their passions, which is all around content. So one of the biggest pillars we've taken is saying is trusted content. Let that be news, sports, finance, or entertainment. Let that be an email. How we give content to an email as well. And when you're searching, we're also making sure a lot of the content we are creating or our third parties are bringing in, it's all there as well for consumers to access. So trusted content journey is a very big part of that strategy. If you peel the onion back in 2019, one of the decisions we made is to get out of social and UGC. We sold Tumblr because part of that was when you want to get out of fake news and validation of porn, a lot of those things is not core to our strategy and it will never be, right? So we wanted to make sure that's a hard decision to make when you have a company part of it and exiting that, but also it gives an opportunity to double down when you think about trusted content. And then do you close the loop in terms of commerce? We talked about commerce earlier. A lot of those things is where we're reviving in terms of growth. So what I've seen now in 2019, we've stabilized. We're seeing core things like Yahoo Finance, Yahoo News, the leaders in their market. They're doing 100 million plus in terms of monthly active user base. But a lot of that has come back because the quality of content is improved. We partner with a lot of them too, from you take Fox to New York Times to Reuters, AP. All of this content is on our platform. We're a marketplace in the end. Consumers want that deep, trusted content in there. Otherwise, you lose that engagement.
So how do you describe the model that Verizon Media is working on? Is it akin to Google because you'll be doing search and email, or is it akin to another news and entertainment platform, let's say like Fox or Disney, because you'll be doing all of that content as well? What are you?
It's different, right? I think from a reach perspective, we're the second largest digital asset if you think about US alone, right? After Google, a multi-use case, you think about content, search, mail, or any of the utilities, we do all those. But then we are much deeper in content. Google is not. So we're very differentiating that way. So it's unique in its own value prop. But again, it comes back to we do our own content, we bring in third parties who give their content, but also we have our own ad platform. In the end, that's how we monetized it. But that's also transitioning. One of the things I've said is I want to have a third in terms of our revenue, ads, subscriptions, and transactions. Those are going to be the three streams that we'll focus on. That's where the business model is transitioning. This is not saying ads is going to decline. The key is the model is changing and transforming. Ads is a massive market. That'll still be core part of it, but the idea is also growing the other two, which is subscriptions and the transaction side. So I would say we're unique. I don't think we compare with anyone.
Yes, that seems to be
the one thing which is very clear, we're not doing long form. You said Disney and others. We don't do long form content. Scripted long-form content is not part of our strategy, and we've said that clearly. We're very core about what we do in sports, news, finance, entertainment, which is non-scripted, mostly short form, or it is live stream. For example, we do NFL live stream, which is doing really well.
And online game betting now.
We just launched betting as well, which is part of our transactions revenue stream as well, which is doing well.
Yeah. So just for viewers who may not be familiar with all of the properties, I can't list all of them, but there is, of course, the Yahoo AOL legacy, and then there's HuffPost and TechCrunch, and then Yahoo Finance, as you spoke of, and Gadget. So, I think a wide variety of different things. How do you decide whether you want to be oriented towards news, you want to be oriented towards sports? A little bit of everything can make you nothing. So where does this, sort of decision lie?
No, I think, look, in the end, when you add the trusted content layer, you can apply everywhere. Entertainment, lifestyle, news, sports, it applies everywhere, right? Now, the key is we're not creating all the content ourselves. That's why we partner with a lot of them. The good thing for us, because we have 900 million consumers globally, there is enough intelligence. We also know what is a particular customer looking for. And then we can either bring real time, a partner we have, serve that content, or what we create ourselves as well. So the way we've decided is literally thinking about what are the biggest use cases that engage. We know sports scores, sports content does really well. We know live streaming does really well, so we've gotten that content. And then now we've said, hey, people are engaging, there's ad dollars, but we want to close the loop. So then we did sports betting, saying that's a natural extension. So again, it's not just content anymore, right? You're moving from pure shallow content experience to much deeper experiential things, including AR, betting. A lot of those things are making it a two-way street. So if we think about Bloomberg or all of us, we are in the inspiration business. We create content that people consume. You read about travel. The next thing you do in 10 weeks, 10 days or whatever, you go buy a vacation package, whatever it is.
You want to sell it alongside.
Yeah, you want to be integrating that, right? Because we are not participating in that value chain. Somebody else was making out of that value chain versus us, where we should have been the one, given we inspired you in the first place to do that. So I think content, in terms of coming back to your question on content, it's very simple. We know the use cases that work well, and we have enough intelligence when you think about how much user base come in daily and how they interact and click and go through that. And then we make sure we keep serving them better and targeting better as we scale.
What are the challenges as you move to building out this vision of yours?
Look, trusted content is, as easy to set a vision and a pillar, not an easy path to take,
Ask
right?
us, we do it every day.
Right,
yes,
right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work, validating and fact checking. It's much harder in today's world of fake news, right? There are enough tools out there for people to create fake news, and the way algorithms are set up, you think about search today, it's all click-based, right? In the end, even if you have fake news, you get enough audience, people are clicking in fake news, and that becomes real in some way. So I think that, creating that, and I think the challenge there is more getting everybody in the ecosystem to align on a standard, in a way saying, hey, this is how you measure quality, this is how you measure fake news, and we should all be aligned together in a way to do that. We actually spoke about that today in the governors meeting for media and content, saying, hey, we need to put an effort, and this is actually for our own industry and for our customers to make sure. I think that's for sure a big shift. I think the second one is changing the business model, where you're moving from the ad model, which will be still there, but then as you go to subscription, going to subscription means you're creating more value. So that value creation is not straightforward. Not everybody is won that market, right? And the research, I think Nielsen is doing a big research where they've said users, at least in 6 countries, including US, they said they have a higher propensity to go subscribe and pay for content, but the bar is much higher. So I think that's a longer journey. We've done 3 big products today: Extra Crunch from TechCrunch, Yahoo Finance Premium, HuffPost Plus. All of them are in the first 6 months of testing, and so far it looks good.
Okay, great. Commercial challenge?
Commercial challenge, the ad model, right? I think the ad model is one, which is how display ad business is transitioning from what it is doing today to the new model of, do monetization numbers change in the trusted world? The CPM should be higher because the content quality is much higher, people are engaging. So I don't think there is much of a challenge there. It's more about evolving ad units, and ad units have to move away from static display to much more richer experience. AR is a big part of that. But I think the bigger piece is, we are more of a marketplace. As much as we create content, Yahoo Finance and sports, we do our own, that's only a small part of what we bring in from others, right? So their model has to work out. There's rev share, or you're bringing content from others. People are willing to participate. Now, the good thing for us is we have a big top of the funnel. And 900 million users, it's a big top of the funnel. So partners do want to come in, do a rev share deal and be there. So it's easier for us. But I think when you're smaller player, much harder if you don't have the top of the funnel.
Okay, growth areas. I know you have presence in India. I know you've been growing that finally. Growth areas besides North America, which is your home market, where do you see the most interesting opportunities?
I think Asia, mainly India, Southeast Asia, I think is going to be a big part. Indonesia, I see these are massive content consuming markets in a way. India, we're being surgical in a way. I'm not saying, hey, let's go do 20 products at one time. We know cricket does really well. That's one we are focused on now to rebuild. Fantasy sports, if you think about what it does in the US, is the #1 fantasy sports product. We're trying to make sure that can be applied in cricket and be there. Makers is something we recently launched. I don't know if you saw last year. So Makers is a woman empowerment platform that's in the US. We launched in India about a few months back. We believe, in the end, when you think about businesses, one of the key stakeholders is society. And us, when we play in the content role, we have a big role of influencing society in the right way, sharing the right information. And Makers is a brand that came out of that, which is women empowerment and people sharing their stories about what they're doing and how they inspire other women and how they can leverage that platform. It's done really well for us in the US. It's been around for a few years. We took that to India. We launched it last year, early phases, but that's again something I believe in, saying, hey, this is the best way for it to give it to society. Look, it's for profit, but in the end, I also think when you do for society, it has to be integrated in the business. It can't be a sideline.
It's a standalone brand.
It's a standalone brand, but it gets integrated. If you go to yahoo.co.in today, you'll see Makers content there. So you'll see it in the ecosystem as well when you're within our ecosystem.
Okay, so India is a small part of the larger footprint?
Yes, right now.
And the key areas that you're focusing next on is
sports, and then content like Makers is going to be two things.
And what does news figure in all of this?
News is bread and butter for us, right? I think that we will bring in other partners in. Yahoo News does well for us and globally. US is one we are focused a lot. One of the products we launched in the US are a feature called Yahoo News 360, which gives you in the US both sides of the aisle, which is red and blue. So we make sure we give you both spectrum, because part of it, the news side, other than feeling about trust, is also becoming unbiased. How do you give consumers the choice, not being purely AI driven, but give them the choice of the entire spectrum? Let them look at what it is. So we launched that feature, is doing well, where you go and you read an article, there's normally a subject line, but you give you both perspectives, and we'll get you content from every source that's out there. Nice summary, which is again unbiased, and it tells you, okay, if you want to go deeper on the red, go down deeper. If you want to go blue, I think that applies to India as well, because you have such a diverse set of thoughts in India, and how do you bring that in an unbiased platform? That is one. Again, you'll see news. I think the way I see it is a foundation that we will do, no matter which market. It's also one that our product platform is scaled to, so we can easily launch that.
Okay, final question. So Verizon's a telco. Why are they even in this business? Or does that even matter? Because they've built out, or are now building out finally, properties that stand on their own feet.
Sure.
I mean, I think there was a time when everybody debated whether the pipes needed to get into the content business. And then they said, no, but why? We want to be able to serve up everybody's content. So I'm just curious as to, does the ownership have any bearing at all or none?
Look, it's become a very core part of the strategy. So one of the Verizon's core strategy, we talk about network as a service, is really part of what platform we're building. So when you think about it, think about 5G. 5G is something we've talked a lot in the US, and we've launched in more than 30 cities now in the US. 5G, media and content becomes the first use case that leverages 5G. That's what consumers are going to see first. And being part of the ecosystem, we have the front row seat in terms of technology and also being able to build that. So our view as Verizon, now I'll speak from a Verizon perspective, is we want to be part of that value chain. We truly believe that that's a great use case that sits in with the infrastructure where we can build great 5G use cases, but also content, not doing the linear side of it. What we do today really fits in terms of leveraging that platform. So I would say it's strategically become more core. Think about even sports as an example. Today, Verizon, we're going and powering a lot of stadiums, a lot of cities. You've got 5G integrated into all these stadiums. The next layer is you bring in sports. That means you've got real-time content, you've got betting that is integrated. So why wouldn't we participate in a much deeper value system in a way, right? So that we can leverage, consumers are already spending time on it.
Right.
And if we have the right asset which strategically fits into our infrastructure and core platform, we should be doing that more and more.
Guru, thank you so much for those insights.
Thank you so much.
It's great speaking with you.
Thank you, same here.
And I hope you do more in India. Thanks very much.
Thank you.